Hi, fourth graders. I am sorry that I have run out of videos and you went a week without a story from me. And so, this is Mrs. Wisbin. You can't see me because I have my camera on the book. This is a longer book since you got gypped. I'm going to read you a longer book, The Houdini Box by Brian Selznick, and the illustrations are great. So I think the focus is not awesome, and I don't know how to fix it if it's something that is even doable. But you'll be able to see the pictures and you can hear me read the words. So I hope you like this book. I think it's one of my favorites. And like I said, it's a little bit longer than our usual weekly stories. So the Houdini Box. Oh, before I get started, if you don't know who Houdini is, I'll let you know that he has passed away. He lived a while ago. He was a famous magician and a man who just amazed people with his tricks and death defying feats of getting out of locked boxes and being tied up with chains and different ropes and doing lots of tricks that made people very nervous and then so thrilled when he would overcome the situation that he was in. So, Harry Houdini is a person in history who was quite the famous magician. Okay, The Houdini Box by Brian Selznick. Houdini was a magician. He could pull rabbits from hats, make elephants disappear, and do 1,000 card tricks. Locks would fall open at his fingertips, and he could escape from ropes and chains and cabinets and coffins. Police from around the world couldn't keep him in their jails, and the oceans and the seas couldn't drown him. Bolt Houdini into a metal box and throw him in the water, he will escape. Lock him up in a jail, handcuffed and helpless, in any city in the world, Moscow, New York, Vienna, Paris, or Providence, Houdini will escape. Everyone was wonderstruck by Houdini, but children were especially delighted. Children want to be able to escape from their rooms when they are sent there for being bad. They want to make their dinners disappear and their parents vanish. They want to pull candy from their pockets without putting any in, turn their sisters into puppies and their brothers into frogs, although some children want to turn their puppies and frogs into sisters and brothers. But children liked Houdini because he could do the unexplainable things that they wanted to do. Houdini was a magician. Magicians can do anything. Victor was 10. He wanted to be a magician too. When Victor was 8, he read in the newspaper that Houdini had escaped from an iron milk can in under 20 seconds. Victor found his grandmother's trunk and closed himself inside. The locks snapped shut behind him. He tried and tried, but he could not escape in under 20 seconds. In fact, he could not escape at all. So Victor cried and yelled until his mother came home and undid the locks. She was very upset that her son had shut himself up in grandmother's trunk. Victor was very upset that he couldn't get out. When Victor was 9, he found out that Houdini could hold his breath for over 5,000 seconds while escaping from a crate dropped in the ocean. If Houdini could hold his breath for 5,000 seconds in his crate in the ocean, then Victor could certainly hold his breath for 5,000 seconds in his tub in the bathroom. So during bath time, he put his head underwater and counted as fast as he could, but he never got to 5,000. His mother kept making him get out of the bathtub and breathe. Victor got this idea when he read that Houdini could walk through brick walls. Victor was sure he could do that. First, he tried walking slowly into a living room wall and pushing his way through. Nothing happened. Next, He tried backing up across the room and running through the wall. He almost broke the lamp, the table, a few pictures, and his nose, but he didn't make it to the other side. Later that evening, after many unsuccessful hours, Victor finally got through the wall. He used the door. Victor's mother was going crazy, unlocking her son from trunks, reminding him to breathe when he took a bath, and telling him not to walk into walls. She decided she would take him to visit Aunt Harriet. Maybe a weekend in the country would calm him down. It was while they were traveling there that the most incredible thing happened. Victor was looking around the huge, bustling train station when he saw, way across the crowds, Harry Houdini himself, buying tickets with his wife. Victor broke free from his mother's hand and ran straight to Houdini. He was filled with questions, millions and billions of questions. But which should he ask first? He took a deep breath, and this is what he said. How can I escape from my grandmother's trunk in under 20 seconds? How do I hold my breath in the tub without running out of air? Why can't I walk through a wall like you can? How do you escape from jails and handcuffs and ropes and make elephants disappear? How? Congratulations, my young man, interrupted the smiling magician. No one has ever asked me so many questions in such a short amount of time. Are you a magician? Oh, I want to be one, said Victor. Houdini remained silent for several moments. After looking at Victor and then at his wife, he finally said, Then listen. Give me the tag from your suitcase. Why? Your name and address are on it. When I write you a letter, I'll need to know where to send it, won't I? Victor immediately undid the little buckle and handed the tag to Houdini. After reading it, the magician bent down so he was face to face with the boy. He whispered, You want to tell me things I can't talk about in the middle of a busy train station, son. And, if I'm not mistaken, I see your mother heading this way. It looks as if you're going to get in trouble. You can blame everything on me. And then, grinning ever so slightly, he added, Tell her Houdini tied you up for a moment. I'll write you a letter. Wait, just you wait. Houdini slipped the name tag into his pocket and disappeared into the crowd with his wife. The weekend in the country was not as restful as Victor's mother had hoped. Her son was so excited about having seen Houdini that he locked himself in Aunt Harriet's dresser, and in the cabinet of her clock, he walked very fast into her walls and almost broke all of her old framed photographs. Aunt Harriet was not sad when they left. Back at home, Victor locked himself in the closet under the staircase, the cupboard in the kitchen, and his grandmother's trunk 9 more times. How he hoped Houdini would write him quickly. Victor thought and dreamt about the magician's letter. When you are a boy expecting the secrets of the world to arrive in the mail, it is almost impossible to be patient. If only Victor were already a magician. A magician could make the letter appear out of thin air. But Victor was still just a boy, and patiently or not, he had to wait. And so he did, until one day, when he was locked up tight inside an old suitcase, he finally heard his mother say, Victor, there's a letter here for you. She unlocked the suitcase and handed him the letter. The handwriting was thick and round and perfect. 1,000 secrets await you. Come to my house. And then Houdini gave the time and the date for the meeting. But it seemed so far away. Victor knew he couldn't wait, so he went to the magician's house that evening. Do you notice this? A ghost? His hands were shaking as he knocked on the door. With a heavy sigh, it opened, and there before him was Harry Houdini's wife. Victor was suddenly too nervous to speak. He stood silently, staring at the sad woman in the light of the doorway. She handed him some candy and softly asked, well, what are you supposed to be? Victor didn't understand what she meant until he saw a ghost, a cowboy, and two little goblins running down the street. In all of his excitement, he had forgotten that tonight was Halloween. And now he knew what he was supposed to be. I'm a magician, he said, and handed Mrs. Houdini the letter. Mrs. Houdini read it and began to cry. She asked him to please wait inside and vanished up the staircase into the magician's library, a dark place alive with books and dust and magical things. He held his breath, waiting for Houdini to greet him with outstretched arms and lead him back into that mysterious room. When someone finally appeared in the hallway, though, it was only Mrs. Houdini again, alone. She came to Victor and handed him a small locked box. And then she opened the front door, and as she showed him out, he heard her whisper, "Houdini died today." The magician's wife closed the door and left Victor alone with the box. "Bye," he said to the door, and went out into the streets toward home. That night, while he was trying to open the lock on the box with pins and pens and all the small keys from the suitcases and clocks around the house, Victor found the owner's initials engraved on the bottom. E.W. This wasn't Houdini's box at all. The owner was some E.W. There could be no secrets here. Imagine, as you read this, how it would feel if you had one dream, one hope, one mysterious wish, and then saw it disappear into thin air. That's how Victor felt, and that's why he did what he did next. He took the box that belonged to E.W. and buried it forever at the bottom of his closet. As he closed the door, he made this promise: "Houdini is gone. I will never think about him again or try to do any of his tricks. Cross my heart and hope to die." So Victor grew up and got married. He and his wife had a child, and they named him Harry, in honor of Aunt Harriet, who had passed away one October long ago. He was not named in honor of a certain magician, because Victor said he never, not even once, thought about Houdini. One chilly day several years later, Victor and Harry were playing ball in a large field near a graveyard behind their house. Victor was pitching and Harry was swinging his bat, but he could never quite hit the ball. It was nearing dark, and there was time for just one more try. Victor gave Harry a few last-minute batting tips, and then, with all the gentle power that he had, threw the day's final pitch to his son. Harry closed his eyes, and at exactly the right moment, he swung his bat. He heard a loud crash, opened his eyes, and was amazed to see the ball fly through the sky and land somewhere in the middle of the graveyard. Victor congratulated his son, and together they climbed over the iron fence to look for the winning baseball. At last they found it, lying in the corner of a dark monument. Whether it had landed there by chance or by some strange, powerful magic, no one will ever know. But the ball that Victor's son had hit so perfectly had come to rest right on the grave of Houdini. That's pretty amazing coincidence. Victor read the monument. Two smaller words appeared directly below Houdini, and Victor said them over and over again because they seemed so familiar. It wasn't until he traced the first letters with his fingers that he understood what he was reading. This was Houdini's real name. Before he became Houdini, the magician had been a boy named Eric Weiss, E.W. Victor's head spun and he laughed out loud. Carrying his son, he ran out of the graveyard, through the baseball field, and into his house. He was out of breath and crazy with excitement, but he couldn't tell his wife or son what was going on. He waited until they were fast asleep, and then he snuck upstairs into the attic. Victor found the forgotten box in a moonlit corner under a steady leak in the roof. He carefully picked it up and dried it off. His hand brushed across the lock, and it suddenly crumbled. The water had rusted through the tiny thing completely. How easy it would be to open the box now. And that night, while his wife and son slept downstairs and the attic shadows vanished in the pale blue fall of moonlight, Victor locked himself inside his grandmother's trunk and escaped in under 20 seconds. That is an awesome story. I hope you liked that, and I look forward to seeing you again, and I will make sure that I have a story for you every week until we finish out this year. So, nice reading for you today, and I will see you soon. Bye.